My name's Albert. I'm a registered nurse with over 19 years of experience in the hospital setting. And I've worked uh, multiple roles from as a regular bedside nurse on a normal unit to being in intensive care, critical care, psychiatry, and in the emergency department. And I thought I'd like to discuss a little bit about vitamin D today. So let's get at it. All right. So let's talk about vitamin D, as I said. When I was in school, which is 20 years ago, it was not required to take nutrition to become a registered nurse. It was folded into our coursework when we discussed any kind of disease system. Some of the things that would impact either positively or negatively um, the that particular condition, or and how a nurse would um, affect good health on for a patient or a person, I should say. And so, because a nurse, one of the nurse's primary responsibilities is to keep a person from getting sick. So if we educate a patient, we're about things that we're going to help prevent an illness. Okay, so immunity and which vitamin D, when I was in school, it was to help you to uptake calcium for bone health when people had fractures, and to help prevent rickets. That was the extent of what we got taught in school. And it has become so much more in this 20 years, um, that vitamin D actually has some hormone capabilities as well. So what hasn't changed is the way people and recommendations are how you get vitamin D in a diet, especially for people who don't get enough sunlight to naturally get that in. And so, if you're working inside, please check out MedCram, Dr. Roger Schwelt. He's got an immense library of things on vitamin D and sun exposure and immunity. This has all come from his experience since COVID and how to keep you from getting sick. So, one of the things that you will see today is still to get milk, to take milk as a way of doing that. And Barbara and I use milk only to make our own yogurt. And I bought this the other day because we ran out and I needed to culture our own. This milk is an organic, pasture raised, and it's whole, so full fat. And as a complete aside, cows are going to get their vitamin D the same way you would get that in nature, is by being exposed to sunlight. So this type would be a better choice, something that's actually labeled as pasture raised versus something that isn't. So let's look at this. And we have a serving size here of 1 cup of milk, which is 240 milliliters. And let's look at the vitamin D content. So vitamin D in this is 2.6 micrograms, which is 15% of your of your dietary value for one day. Now, if you didn't get any sun exposure, and this was the only way you got it, you'd have to have a fair amount of milk daily to do that. And let's look at this yogurt. 3/4 of a cup is a serving size, 170 grams of mass. And let's see, vitamin D, 1.9 micrograms, so 10% of your dietary value for vitamin D. So if you're using yogurt and with other things as a probiotic, good. These are both good starting points. All right, let's look at a can of salmon. Now, I like salmon, but only in a canned form. It's something from me being a kid. Um, I just don't like the taste of fresh salmon. And one of the things that I've learned in the last 3 or 4 years or so is that anything that's labeled as Alaskan has to be wild caught. So you know that these fish are not fed some sort of meal that the fish was not intended to eat. So let's look at a serving size of salmon. And we have 5 servings in this 14.7 ounce can. So it's 3 ounces. And look at the vitamin D content on this. 9 micrograms, 45%. All right, so that's pretty significant, right? And if you make a salmon salad with this, like you would, say, tuna salad, I challenge you with a little bit of garlic or onion powder in there. You can't tell that it's not tuna if that's something you might want to do. One of the things that when I tried to research for this video, I went to search nutrition labels in the store, and sardines are also part of the good omega-rich fish that are easily available in most supermarkets, at least here in the U.S. But if you look at these, and I could not find a sardine label that was in water, so minimally processed, minimally added things to it that had any kind of nutritional information on it in the store that I was in yesterday. Now, I had previously bought this in an Albertsons store, and this is their open nature that they carry, and I believe in most of their stores. So this actually does have the information on it, but this size can is about an ounce bigger than what this and others. So you're going to get a little bit less in, for instance, this Bumblebee. All right, so let's look at this. So the serving size is 1 can, and it's down here at the bottom. Protein is right next to the protein. So vitamin D is 50% of your dietary value. So that's going to be a little bit bigger than what this is, and that's going to be almost essentially the same as the salmon. So what am I trying to say here? There are other ways of getting vitamin D in your diet than what your dietitian or somebody may tell you about. Search out good sources of vitamin D. This isn't always easy to find, and but a food label is a good place to start. And with a little prior research and checking out these food labels, you can get some information. I hope that's helpful. Please check out MedCram and also check out the rest of the stuff on the channel here. We've got all kinds of information about fasting and my experience with metabolic health and how I've reversed my pre-diabetes and changed my life, lost a lot of weight, and I think you might be interested in checking that out. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you watching.